Welcome to the Illness Management and Recovery Booster. It's a comprehensive guide for mental health clinicians and peer support specialists. Welcome to this essential refresher on the evidence-based practice that empowers individuals with serious mental illness on their recovery journey. Today's agenda: 1. Introduction and refresher. That's going to be the IMR overview and evidence base. 2. We're going to talk about the 5 key components, a deep dive into each IMR component. 3. Clinical applications, real-world implementation strategies. 4. Interactive case studies, problem solving through scenarios. And 5. The next steps we'll take, ongoing skill development and resources. Illness management and recovery, otherwise known as IMR, is an evidence-based practice designed to help individuals with severe mental illnesses set personal recovery goals and develop the skills to manage their illness effectively. It's built on the principle that people with mental illness can and do recover, and that recovery is a highly personal journey. IMR helps people acquire practical skills and knowledge to better cope with their symptoms and challenges. Core principles and components. The IMR program is typically delivered by a practitioner, like a therapist, a peer support, addiction specialist, who is collaborative, supportive manner. It focuses on several key components. We're talking about psychoeducation, which provides information about mental illness, including its symptoms, causes, and treatments. Understanding their condition helps individuals feel more in control. Coping skills, such as training, teaches the practical skills to manage symptoms, stress, and difficult situations. These skills can include relaxation techniques, problem solving, and communication skills. Social skills trainings helps people improve their interactions with others, which can be crucial for building a strong support network and reducing social isolation. Medication management that offers education on the purpose, benefits, and side effects of medication, empowering individuals to work with their doctors to make informed decisions. Relapse prevention, which teaches individuals to recognize the early warning signs of a relapse and create a plan to prevent it. This proactive approach helps to maintain stability and well-being. IMR is not a cure, but a tool that empowers people to become active participants in their own recovery, leading to greater independence and a higher quality of life. The program is flexible and tailored to each individual's needs and goals. IMR is built on robust evidence. Multiple randomized controlled trials and real-world implementations have demonstrated symptom reduction, clinically significant decreases in symptom severity and distress, improved functioning, enhanced social connections and community integration, fewer hospitalizations, reduced emergency service utilization and inpatient stays, and sustainable outcomes, benefits maintained at follow-up assessments.
Marcus felt like his mind was a noisy radio, always switching stations. Some channels were filled with static, others with whispers that weren't his own. It was exhausting, trying to find a clear signal, a moment of quiet where he could just be himself. One Tuesday, a woman named Sarah from the community support team came to his apartment. She didn't wear a white coat or carry a clipboard full of questions. She just had a warm smile and a friendly, open face. "We're going to work together, Marcus," she said softly, "to help you find your own clear channel." Sarah introduced him to something called IMR, Illness Management and Recovery. It sounded like a complicated manual for a machine he didn't understand. "It's not about fixing you," she explained, her voice kind. "It's about giving you the tools to be your own mechanic." Their first tool was knowledge. Sarah explained that schizophrenia wasn't a personal failing or a monster under the bed, but a treatable medical condition. For the first time, Marcus learned that the whispers had a name, and that he wasn't the only one who heard them. A small weight lifted from his shoulders. Next, they talked about his goals. Not big, scary goals that felt impossible, but small, achievable ones. I want to be able to go to the grocery store, he admitted, his voice barely audible, without feeling like everyone is watching me. Sarah helped him break it down into smaller steps. They practiced deep breathing exercises to calm the rising panic. They made a shopping list together, a map to navigate the aisles. The first trip was short, just for milk and bread. When he walked out of the store, his heart was pounding, but he was also smiling. It was a victory. They worked on coping skills for the whispers. Instead of letting them take over, Marcus learned to question them, to ask, "Is that really true?" He started carrying headphones, and when the radio in his head got too loud, he would play his favorite music, tuning the dial himself. There were still bad days. Days when the static was overwhelming and the whispers were insistent. But now, he had his toolbox. He knew he could call Sarah, or practice his breathing, or lose himself in a song. He wasn't just weathering the storm anymore. He was learning to be the captain of his own ship. One sunny afternoon, Marcus walked to the park. He saw a group of people playing chess, their faces a mixture of concentration and enjoyment. Before, he would have hurried past, the whispers telling him they were laughing at him. Today, he paused. He watched a knight take a pawn. He felt a flicker of interest, a quiet hum on a clear station. The radio in his mind hadn't gone silent, but it was different now. There were more moments of music, of quiet conversation, of his own thoughts. He was the one in control of the dial, and for the first time in a long time, Marcus was looking forward to what he might hear next.
The 5 key components of IMR. Today we explore how these components work together to create a comprehensive approach to recovery support. There's recovery orientation. There's goal setting, IMR curriculum, motivational strategies, and cognitive behavioral strategies. The program is built on the idea that recovery is possible for everyone, even for people with severe symptoms. A key aspect of the recovery-oriented approach is to focus on consumer-centered goals. Individuals are encouraged to define what recovery means to them and to set personally meaningful goals that will be pursued throughout the program. Some of the foundational concepts of IMR's recovery orientation include hope and optimism. The program sets a positive and optimistic tone, conveying confidence that people with psychiatric symptoms can move forward in their lives. Empowerment through knowledge provides accurate information about mental illnesses and treatment options, empowers individuals to make informed decisions about their care and take an active role in their own recovery. Skill development. The program teaches practical skills for managing mental illness, such as how to cope with stress, build social support, use medication effectively, and reduce relapses. Collaborative relationships. The relationship between the practitioner and the individual is a partnership. The practitioner works side by side with the person to help them move forward in their recovery and encourage the involvement of family and other supporters when appropriate. Recovery. In the context of the Illness Management and Recovery Program, better known as IMR, is more than just managing symptoms. It is about pursuing a meaningful and productive life. The program is rooted in the belief that people with mental illnesses can learn the skills and knowledge to manage their condition and actively work toward personal goals. The IMR curriculum covers several topics that go beyond symptom reduction, focusing on skills and life areas essential for a full recovery. These include setting personal goals. A central part of IMR is helping individuals define what recovery means to them personally, and then establishing and working towards specific, meaningful goals. These goals can range from getting a job to improving family relationships or taking a class. Building social support. The program emphasizes the importance of social connections for coping with stress and preventing relapses. It provides strategies for meeting new people, starting conversations, and developing closer relationships with friends and family. Coping with life problems. IMR teaches a step-by-step method for solving problems and achieving goals which help reduce stress and the risk of relapse. It provides strategies for dealing with common issues like anxiety, anger, and sleeping difficulties, as well as persistent symptoms. Self-advocacy. The program gives individuals an overview of the mental health system and teaches them how to advocate for themselves to access the services and benefits they need. This includes knowing their legal rights, such as those under the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Fair Housing Act. By focusing on these areas in addition to symptom management, IMR supports individuals in regaining their sense of identity and confidence, moving them from a state of illness to one of meaningful engagement with life. Recovery orientation is a person-centered holistic approach to mental health care that emphasizes empowering individuals to lead meaningful, fulfilling lives with or without ongoing symptoms of mental illness. This approach is a shift from the traditional medical model, which often focuses solely on symptom reduction and stabilization. Instead, recovery orientation values the individual's unique strengths, goals, and experiences. Here's how recovery orientation is put into practice: partnership and self-direction. In a recovery-oriented approach, the individual is seen as the expert in their own recovery and recovery journey. Practitioners work in collaborative partnerships, leading to individuals' needs, wishes, and beliefs to create a personalized plan. This means empowering individuals to make their own choices, define their own life goals, and take responsibility for their own self-care and recovery. Holistic and strength-based approach. Recovery is viewed as encompassing the individual's whole life, including their physical health, emotional well-being, spirituality, and community involvement. The focus is on building on a person's strengths, talents, and coping abilities rather than on their deficits or pathologies. This helps individuals leave behind unhealthy life roles and engage in new valued roles such as a student, employee, or friend. Hope and social inclusion. A core message of recovery orientation is that a better future is possible, and people can and do overcome internal and external challenges. Fostering hope is a key task for practitioners, peers, and family members. This approach also emphasizes social inclusion and supportive relationships. Peer support, where individuals with lived experience help others, is a crucial component that provides a sense of belonging and hope. Acknowledging challenges and setbacks. Recovery is recognized as a non-linear process with ups and downs, achievements and setbacks. The emphasis is on learning from these experiences and persevering. It's about helping individuals develop resilience and a belief in themselves to navigate their journey. Reflection, recovery orientation. How do you currently embody recovery-oriented practice in your work? What small changes could further strengthen this approach? I've learned that recovery doesn't mean I'll never have symptoms again. It means I have a life worth living despite those symptoms. A quote by a participant in the IMR program. The most powerful shift for me was when my provider stopped trying to fix me and started asking what mattered most to me. A quote from a person with lived experience. Goal setting. Goal setting is essential in the ongoing component of the illness management and recovery program, providing a framework for individuals to define their recovery journey and take concrete steps to achieve a fulfilling life. It's a key part of the recovery-oriented approach, shifting the focus from simply managing symptoms to pursuing personal aspirations. The process of goal setting. The IMR program guides individuals through a structured process to identify, plan, and pursue their goals. Identifying personal goals. The process begins by encouraging people to identify what they want to see happen in their lives as part of their recovery. This can involve reflecting on their values and what is most important to them in areas like relationships, work, hobbies, and living situations. Breaking down ambitious goals. If a goal is too large or seems daunting, the practitioner helps break it down into smaller, more manageable steps. This shaping approach is crucial for building a sense of progress and confidence. For example, if someone wants to go on a vacation, they might start by exploring options for local trips or saving a small amount of money. Creating a step-by-step plan. The program uses worksheets like the step-by-step problem solving and goal achievement exercise to help clients plan the necessary steps to achieve their goals. This includes defining the goal as simply as possible, listing possible solutions, and detailing the steps needed to carry out the chosen solution. Tracking progress and overcoming obstacles. Goal setting in IMR isn't a one-time event. It's a continuous process. Individuals are encouraged to track their progress and update their goals at the beginning of each session. This helps them identify any snags or obstacles and work with their practitioner to find solutions. Collaboration with supporters. Family members and other supporters can be involved in the goal-setting process, helping to offer ideas and participate in carrying out specific steps of a plan. This strengthens the support system and reinforces the individual's efforts. By focusing on personalized goal setting, IMR empowers individuals to take an active, solution-focused approach to their recovery, translating their aspirations into actionable plans and celebrating small successes along the way. The SMART acronym stands for specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, relevant, and time-bound or timely. Here's how each component applies to goal setting within the IMR program. S is for specific. A goal should be clear and well defined, addressing the who, what, where, when, and why. Instead of a vague symptom statement like, I want to get a job, a specific goal would be, I want to find a part-time job at a bookstore that I enjoy by talking to a supported employment specialist this month. This level of detail provides a clear mission for the goal and helps the individual focus their efforts. M is for measurable. A goal must have a criteria to track progress and determine when it has been met. This can involve a number, a percentage, or a specific action. For example, a measurable goal could be, I will research 3 different supported employment programs and call one of them by next week. Measuring progress helps individuals stay on track and provides a sense of accomplishment. Achievable, attainable. Goals should be realistic, given the individual's resources, time, and current abilities. In IMR, this involves breaking down ambitious, long-term goals into smaller, more manageable steps to increase the likelihood of success. A practitioner might help someone who wants to become a doctor start by focusing on getting a GED first. This builds self-esteem and confidence. R is for relevant. A goal should be personally meaningful and align with the individual's broader life aspirations and goals. The IMR program emphasizes that goals should be important to the individual and tied to their personal vision of recovery that aligns with their values. This ensures that the effort invested in the goal is worthwhile and motivating. And T is for time-bound. Every goal needs a clear deadline to create a sense of urgency and provide a target date for completion. Without a deadline, there's less motivation to take action. The IMR program encourages setting timelines for objectives, which helps individuals stay on track and accountable. So remember, The SMART goal framework is specific, clear, concrete, and detailed. What exactly will be accomplished? An example would be I will attend a community art class versus I will be more social. Measurable. How will progress be tracked and success recognized? An example could be I will attend at least 6 out of 8 sessions, which provides clear metric. Achievable. Realistic, given current resources, abilities, and circumstances. An example, finding a class that fits schedule and budget constraints. Relevant, connected to personal values and meaningful recovery priorities. Example, class aligns with interests and creativity and desire for connection. And time bound, clear time frame establishes urgency and provides drift. An example, I will register for the spring session that starts next month. The goal setting process in IMR is a collaborative, person centered approach that focuses on helping individuals define their own path to recovery. It's a continuous, multi step process that moves from broad aspirations to concrete action plans. Key steps in the goal process. The IMR program's goal setting process is designed to be flexible and empowering, ensuring that individuals are motivated and confident in their ability to achieve their objectives. 1. Defining recovery and identifying goals. The process starts by helping individuals understand what recovery means to them and what they want their life to be like. This involves an open-ended exploration of different life areas such as work, social life, and hobbies. Practitioners ask questions like, what would your life be like in a year? Or, what did you use to enjoy doing? What did you used to enjoy doing? To help people envision a positive future, this step instills hope and establishes that change is possible. 2. Creating a collaborative plan. Once a person identifies an area for change, the practitioner helps them formulate a clear, specific, and meaningful goal. If the goal is ambitious, like getting a college degree, it's broken down into smaller, achievable steps. This shaping approach ensures that early success builds confidence and momentum. For example, a long-term goal of getting a job might be broken into short-term goals like talking to a supporter, employment specialist, or identifying the types of jobs they would enjoy. 3. Using problem-solving tools. The program uses tools like the step-by-step problem-solving and goal achievement exercise to formalize the plan. This tool helps individuals define the problem or goal clearly and simply brainstorm solutions or steps without judgment. Evaluate the pros and cons of each solution. Choose the best course of action and create a detailed action plan. Ongoing follow-up and adjustment. Goal setting is not a one-time event. In every session, practitioners check in on the individual's progress toward their goals. This regular follow-up helps identify any barriers or obstacles and allows the practitioner and individual to collaboratively problem solve and make adjustments to the plan. It is also an opportunity to celebrate successes, which reinforce motivation and self-esteem. 5. Involving the support system. With the individual's consent, practitioners encourage the involvement of family and other supporters in the goal-setting process. These individuals can provide valuable input, help with tasks, and offer ongoing encouragement, making the plan more effective. As it pertains to goal setting using clinical wisdom in IMR goal setting is about more than just following a structured process. It involves a set of practical strategies and attitudes that help practitioners engage individuals and make goals meaningful and effective. Fostering an environment of hope and collaboration. So a core principle is to create a trusting and collaborative environment where the individual feels empowered. As it pertains to establishing a partnership, a practitioner should work side by side with the individual rather than an authoritative role. This collaborative approach builds a strong relationship, which is a key factor in goal success and sustained motivation. As it pertains to instilling hope and confidence, it's crucial to convey genuine optimism that the individual can achieve their goals and improve their life. Practitioners should celebrate even small victories, those baby steps, to build self esteem and momentum. Reframe past failures not as signs of inability, but as opportunities to learn about the individual's strengths and resourcefulness. As it pertains to validating lived experience, recognize the individual as the expert on their own life and experiences. This approach makes them feel valued and ensures the goals are truly meaningful to them. Guiding the goal setting conversation. Practitioners use specific techniques to help individuals move from vague ideas to concrete plans. Start with why. Don't just ask what the goal is, ask why it's important to them. Explore what achieving the goal would mean to them and how their life would be different. This helps ensure the goal is personally meaningful and taps into their core motivations. Explore past and the future. If an individual is struggling to identify goals, ask them to reflect on what they used to enjoy doing before their symptoms developed or what they fantasized about doing when they were younger. You can also encourage them to think about what they would like their life to be like in 1, 5, or even 10 years. Start small and specific. Ambition is great, but it can be very overwhelming. Help individuals break down a large long-term goal into smaller, manageable short-term goals and steps that they feel confident they can achieve quickly. For example, the long-term goal of getting a driver's license can be broken down into short-term goals like investigating legal status and getting a driver's manual. Focus on constructive, not eliminative goals. Frame the goals in terms of what the person is going to do rather than what they are going to stop doing. Instead of stop feeling depressed, a more effective goal is do more fun activities. This positive reframing encourages action and focuses on building skills instead of just avoiding behaviors. Anticipate and prepare for setbacks. Acknowledge that recovery is not a straight line and that setbacks are a normal part of the process. Help the individual prepare for potential obstacles and create strategies to overcome them, fostering resilience. The practitioner's role in implementation. It's the practitioner's job doesn't end with setting the goal. They play a continuous role in helping the individual maintain momentum. Provide regular feedback and follow-up. Routinely check in on goal progress, identify barriers, and praise all efforts, no matter how small. This regular check-in keeps the goals relevant and maintains motivation. Use practical tools. Employ tools such as goal tracking sheets and handouts to make the progress transparent and tangible. This documentation helps both the practitioner and the individual see progress and make necessary adjustments. Encourage support systems, involving family and other supports in the goal setting process when appropriate. This expands the individual's support network and provides additional encouragement and accountability. The key is finding the just right challenge. The most effective goals strike a balance between being achievable and providing meaningful growth. Too easy, and there's little satisfaction. Too difficult, and discouragement can set in. The steps are you start small. Early success builds confidence for tackling larger goals. We need to honor ambivalence, acknowledge natural hesitation about change, and we should celebrate progress, recognizing efforts and small victories along the way. Based on the IMR curriculum, common goals often fall into several categories that are central to a person's recovery and overall well-being. These goals go beyond simply managing symptoms and focus on building a fulfilling life. Goals related to personal growth and self-management, Improving coping skills, learning to deal with stress, problems, and persistent symptoms more effectively, using medication effectively, making informed decisions about medication and developing strategies to take it regularly, developing a sober lifestyle, reducing or stopping the use of alcohol and drugs to improve mental and physical health, learning about one's illness, gaining knowledge about psychiatric symptoms and disorders to better understand and manage them. Goals related to social and community life, building social support, increasing the number and quality of relationships with family, friends, and other supporters, finding meaningful activities, engaging in hobbies, work, or other activities that provide purpose and enjoyment, getting needs met by the mental health system, learning to navigate services and advocate for oneself to access necessary resources, goals related to future aspirations, reducing relapses, identifying triggers and early warning signs to prevent future episodes of severe symptoms, increasing independence, pursuing personal objectives such as finding a job, going back to school, or securing housing. Okay, now we're going to work on a goal setting activity. You'll be utilizing the entry points beneath this video. I want you to think about a client you're currently working with. 1. What personally meaningful goal might they identify? 2. How could you help break down this into specific, achievable steps? 3. What potential barriers might arise, and how could you help navigate them? 4. What strengths and resources could support their success? 5. How would you collaboratively track and celebrate progress? I want you to place pause on this video and fill out those questions below. Component 3, the IMR curriculum. The structured educational component provides essential knowledge and skills through 11 modules, each with its own practitioner guides and handouts. These topics are designed to give people the tools and knowledge to take control of their recovery. The topics are recovery strategies, which focuses on defining recovery and setting personally meaningful goals. Practical facts about mental illness, which provides information on diagnosis symptoms and treatment options. The stress vulnerability model and treatment strategies. Explains how stress and biological factors contribute to symptoms and what can be done to reduce their impact. Building social support. Teaches strategies for connecting with people and developing stronger relationships. Using medication effectively. Helps individuals understand the benefits and side effects of medication to make informed decisions. Drug and alcohol use. Discusses the impact of substance use on mental illness and provides strategy for reducing or stopping use. Reducing relapses. Teaches how to identify triggers and early warning signs to create a personal relapse prevention plan. Coping with stress. Provides techniques for preventing and managing stress to reduce symptoms. Coping with problems and persistent symptoms. Offers a problem-solving model and coping strategies for dealing with ongoing symptoms and other life problems. Getting your needs met by the mental health system. Provides information on mental health services, benefits, and self-advocacy strategies, instructional strategies. The curriculum is delivered using a combination of 3 main teaching approaches. Motivational strategies. These are used to help individuals understand why their information and skills are relevant to their personal recovery goals, making them more motivated to learn and apply the material. Educational strategies. These involve interactive teaching such as summarizing handouts, checking for understanding, and presenting information in small, manageable chunks. Cognitive behavioral strategies. These focus on helping individuals learn how to use the information and skills to think and behave differently, often through exercises, role-playing, and homework assignments that encourage practicing skills in real-life situations. The curriculum materials are designed to be flexible, with separate practitioner guides and handouts for each topic, which can be tailored to the individual's needs, interests, and reading level. The IMR curriculum, the module will list our recovery strategies, practical facts about mental illness, The stress vulnerability model, building social support, using medication effectively, drug and alcohol use, reducing relapses, coping with stress, coping with problems and symptoms, getting your needs met in the mental health system, and healthy lifestyles. Each module includes educational handouts, worksheets, and home practice assignments to reinforce learning. The stress vulnerability model is a theory that explains how a combination of a person's biological makeup and external stress can contribute to the symptoms of mental illness. In the context of the Illness Management and Recovery Program, this model is used to help individuals understand their symptoms and learn strategies to manage their mental health symptoms. Key components of the model. The model has two main parts: the biological vulnerability. This refers to a person's inborn or early life predisposition to developing a mental illness. This vulnerability is thought to be linked to a chemical imbalance in the brain. But we won't say that. We'll say a genetic factor in the brain or makeup of that person, as some diagnoses can be genetically passed down. Stress. This includes any difficult or challenging life event which can trigger the onset of symptoms or make them worse. Stress can form from major life events like losing a job or daily hassles like an unpleasant commute. The IMR program applies this model to teach that while a person can't change their biological vulnerability, they can learn to control factors that worsen their symptoms, such as substance use and stress. Likewise, they can also use strategies like medication, coping skills, and social support to help manage their symptoms and achieve their recovery goals. Relapse prevention planning in the Illness Management and Recovery Program is a critical, skills-based approach to help individuals avoid or lessen the severity of a relapse. It is a collaborative process where the individual and the practitioner work together to create a personalized plan based on the person's unique experiences with their illness. Key components of a relapse prevention plan. The IMR curriculum teaches individuals how to develop a comprehensive plan by focusing on several key components. Identifying triggers. The first step is to identify specific events or situations that have led to relapses in the past. Triggers can be external, such as people or places associated with past substance use, or internal, like stress and anxiety. Common triggers also include discontinuing medication, experiencing increased stress, and using alcohol or drugs. Recognizing these triggers help individuals anticipate and avoid high-risk situations. Recognizing early warning signs. A relapse is often a gradual process, and the goal is to intervene before it becomes a full-blown crisis. Early warning signs are subtle changes in a person's thoughts, feelings, or behavior that signal a relapse may be starting. Examples include feeling tense, changes in appetite or sleep, social withdrawal, irritability, and having trouble concentrating. The IMR program emphasizes that people are not always aware of these signs themselves, so involving supportive friends and family is a crucial part of the plan. Developing coping strategies. The plan outlines specific coping skills to use when triggers or early warning signs appear. These strategies can be behavioral, like leaving a stressful situation, or cognitive, like using positive self-talk. The IMR curriculum teaches and encourages the practice of these skills, such as relaxation techniques, exercise, and reaching out to one's support network. Involving a support system. A relapse prevention plan is more effective when it involves the individual's support network. The plan would clearly identify who can help and what specific role they can play, such as alerting the individual to warning signs or helping them with a coping strategy. Creating a living document. The relapse prevention plan is not a static document. It's meant to be reviewed and adjusted over time. Individuals are encouraged to revisit the plan regularly, especially after a setback, to incorporate new coping strategies and update the list of triggers and warning signs. This process reinforces the individual's belief in their ability to stay well. Curriculum flexibility. While IMR includes comprehensive materials, implementation should be flexible and responsive. Individualize. Tailor the content to specific needs, interests, and learning styles. Prioritize. Focus on modules most relevant to current goals and challenges. Adapt. Modify materials for cultural relevance and cognitive accessibility. Integrate. Connect educational content to personal strategies and goals. Curriculum implementation methods. The individual format. Customized pacing and content selection. More in-depth exploration of personal situations. Potentially less intimidating for some clients. Easier to schedule and coordinate. And 30 to 45-minute sessions typically. The group format. Peer support and shared learning. Opportunity to practice social skills. Diverse perspectives on recovery. Cost-effective service delivery. And 60 to 90-minute sessions typically. Some programs offer hybrid approaches with both group and individual components. The IMR program uses a combination of three main teaching strategies: motivational, educational, and cognitive behavioral, to help individuals learn and apply the skills necessary for recovery. These strategies are tailored to the individual's needs, interests, and goals to ensure the content is relevant and effective. Motivational strategies. These strategies are designed to engage individuals and help them understand why the material is important to their lives. They focus on connecting the IMR curriculum directly to the individual's personal recovery goals. This involves exploring the pros and cons of certain behaviors, celebrating progress, and conveying hope and optimism about their ability to achieve a fulfilling life. Educational strategies. The educational component is about providing clear, accurate information to empower individuals to make informed decisions. Practitioners use handouts, checklists, and planning sheets to explain key concepts in a user-friendly way. To ensure understanding, practitioners summarize main points, pause to check in with the individual, and allow plenty of time for discussion. Cognitive behavioral strategies. These strategies are hands-on and practical, helping individuals apply new knowledge and skills in their daily lives. They often involve homework assignments, role-playing, and exercises. For example, if a person's goal is to manage stress, a practitioner might role-play a relaxation technique with them in a session, and then assign them to practice it at home. This practical application helps them build confidence and integrate the skills into their routine. In the Illness Management and Recovery program, motivational strategies are a set of techniques used to help individuals understand why the information and skills they're learning are personally relevant and beneficial. The goal is to build intrinsic motivation, which is essential for sustained effort toward recovery goals. These strategies are a core part of the IMR program and are integrated into every topic to help individuals stay engaged, especially when they face challenges or setbacks. Key techniques in practice. Connecting to personal goals. Practitioners actively link the IMR material to the individual's personal recovery goals. For example, if a person wants to get a job, a practitioner might discuss how learning stress management techniques can help them handle the pressures of a work environment. Exploring pros and cons. Practitioners encourage individuals to examine the advantages and disadvantages of changing a behavior. This helps them work through ambivalence by openly considering all sides of a situation, such as the pros and cons of taking medication or using substances. Conveying hope and confidence. A personal motivation strategy is to consistently express confidence in the individual's ability to recover and achieve their goals. Practitioners celebrate small successes to build self-esteem and reframe past challenges as learning experiences that highlight the person's strength and resilience. Affirmations and reflective listening. Practitioners use open-ended questions, affirmations, and reflective listening to validate the individual's perspective and reinforce their strengths. This builds a strong collaborative partnership It makes the individual feel heard and respected. Examples from the IMR curriculum. Medication management. Instead of just telling someone to take their medication, the practitioner helps them identify personal motivations, such as decreasing symptoms or improving relationships, which are common benefits of taking medication consistently. Relapse prevention. The practitioner helps the individual see how creating a relapse prevention plan can give them more control over their life and help them achieve a sense of stability. They also encourage involving family or other supporters to reinforce these plans. Goal setting. Homework assignments often involve taking small, concrete steps towards a personal goal, such as sketching in a notebook to pursue an interest in creative expression or asking a supporter to practice conversation skills. This hands-on approach builds momentum and keeps the individual engaged. Key motivational principles. Express empathy. Demonstrate genuine understanding of the client's perspective without judgment. Example: it makes sense that you're concerned about medication side effects. Develop discrepancy. Gently highlight gaps between current behavior and personal goals or values. Example: you mentioned wanting more energy for activities and also that you've been staying up very late. Roll with resistance. Avoid arguments and instead explore concerns collaboratively. Example: what concerns you most about trying this coping strategy? Support self-efficacy. Build confidence by highlighting strengths and past successes. Example: you overcome significant challenges before, like when you ... Motivational interviewing skills. The OARS framework provides essential communication techniques. Open questions. Invite elaboration rather than yes/no answers. For example, what would you like to be different in your life? Rather than, do you want things to change? Affirmations. Acknowledge strengths, efforts, and values. An example: I appreciate your willingness to discuss such difficult experiences. Reflections. Mirror back meaning to deepen understanding. An example: it sounds like you're feeling torn between wanting support and worrying about being a burden. Summaries. Gather and organize key points from discussion. Let me see if I understand what we've discussed so far. In IMR, motivation is not a static trait, but a dynamic process that practitioners help facilitate by understanding an individual's readiness for change. This is often framed using a model known as the stages of change. This model helps practitioners tailor their approach to where the person is in their journey toward recovery, ensuring that interventions are effective and don't create resistance. The stages of change model. This model, also called the trans-theoretical model, describes a cyclical process of behavior change with 6 stages. It's a key tool in motivational interviewing, a collaborative style of counseling that is a core component of IMR. Pre-contemplation. At this stage, the individual is not considering changing their behavior and may not even see it as a problem. They might feel resistance or in denial. In this stage, the practitioner's goal is to build rapport, raise awareness, and increase the person's perception of the risk of their current behavior without being confrontational. Contemplation. In this phase, the individual acknowledges that a problem exists and is considering the possibility of change, but they are ambivalent about it. They are weighing the pros and cons of changing versus staying the same. The practitioner's role here is to help them tip the balance toward change by exploring their ambivalence and highlighting the discrepancy between their current behavior and their personal goals. Preparation. The person has made a decision to change and is getting ready to take action. They may have already taken small steps toward this goal, such as gathering information. The practitioner's task is to help the person create a clear, realistic plan and set achievable goals to support their growing commitment. Action. The individual is actively making changes and modifying their behavior, environment, and experiences to overcome the problem. This stage requires significant effort and commitment. The practitioner's role is to support the individual's self-efficacy, reinforce their efforts, and help them develop coping strategies for high-risk situations. Maintenance. The person has sustained their behavior change for at least 6 months and is working to prevent relapse. Their new behavior has become a regular part of their life. The practitioner helps them identify and use strategies to prevent slips and build a new, healthier lifestyle. And relapse, which is often isn't talked about, but this is considered a common part of the change process, not a failure. If a relapse occurs, the practitioner helps the individual process what happened, learn from the experience, and re-enter the cycle of change, often at the contemplation or preparation stage. Application in IMR. In IMR, the practitioner uses motivational interviewing skills like asking open-ended questions, affirmations, reflective listening, and summarizing, better known as the acronym OARS, to meet the person where they are in these stages. This approach acknowledges the individual's autonomy and empowers them to find their own reasons for change. Instead of being a passive recipient of advice, the person becomes an active participant, a collaborator in their own recovery. Motivation and practice, key strategies. Decisional balance, exploring pros and cons of both changing and not changing. Confidence scaling. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you could ... Values exploration, connecting recovery activities to core personal values. Envisioning, imagining life after successful change has occurred. All right, now it's time for the motivational practice activity. Practice using motivational strategies with one of these common IMR scenarios. 1. Client expresses ambivalence about trying a new coping skill. 2. Client has stopped taking medication due to side effects. 3. Client consistently misses sessions or comes unprepared. 4. Client believes recovery is impossible for their situation. Focus on using OR skills and avoid the writing reflex of jumping to conclusions. Cognitive behavior strategies. IMR incorporates evidence-based CBT techniques to help clients recognize thought patterns, identifying unhelpful thinking that contributes to distress, challenging distortions, questioning and reframing inaccurate or unhelpful thoughts, developing coping skills, building practical strategies for managing symptoms and stress, and changing behavior, taking action steps that support recovery goals. Common cognitive distortions. Distortion types. All or nothing thinking. If I can't do it perfectly, I failed. In the mental health context, that might mean my symptoms mean I'll never have a good life. Overgeneralization. I always mess things up. In the mental health context, people always reject me because of my illness. Mental filtering, focusing only on negatives. In mental health context, this medication didn't work, so nothing will help. Jumping to conclusions, mind reading, or fortune telling. In mental health context, my therapist thinks I'm not trying hard enough. Catastrophizing, assuming the worst possible outcome. In mental health context, if I tell anyone about my symptoms, they'll lock me up.
Marcus felt like he lived under his own personal gray cloud. It wasn't a real cloud, of course, but it felt just as heavy and just as dark. It followed him everywhere, especially at work, where a big presentation was looming. "It's going to be a disaster," Marcus mumbled to the cloud. The cloud just seemed to grow darker. In Marcus's mind, there were only 2 outcomes for the presentation. It would be absolutely perfect, or it would be a complete and utter failure. This all or nothing thinking was exhausting. The space between perfect and failure didn't exist for him. It was a terrifying tightrope walk. The weight of the cloud was too much. Marcus decided to ask for help and met Althea, a guide who specialized in cognitive skills training. She had a calm office and an even calmer smile. "Tell me about the cloud," she said, and for the first time, Marcus let all the stormy thoughts pour out. "Last week, I used the wrong word in an email," Marcus explained, "and it just proves it. I always mess things up." He saw that one tiny mistake as evidence of a never-ending pattern of defeat, a single drop of rain that promised a flood. Althea listened. "Is it true that you always mess things up? Can you remember one time, just one, that you didn't?" Marcus had to think hard, filtering through the grayness. "Well," he said slowly, "my boss did say she liked the report I finished last month." As he said it, a tiny, brilliant crack of light appeared in his gray cloud. He had completely forgotten about that praise. He had been so focused on the one wrong word in the email that he'd filtered out the good things entirely. "That's called mental filtering," Althea explained. "It's like wearing special glasses that only allow you to see the negative. 10 good things could happen, but you'd only notice the one bad thing." Marcus nodded. His glasses were very powerful. "What about when you predict the future or read people's minds?" Althea asked. Marcus instantly thought of seeing his boss in the hallway, looking serious. He was sure she was thinking about how unprepared he was for the presentation. His stomach had twisted into knots. "Your thoughts are not facts," Althea said, handing him a new tool. "Not a real one, but an idea." It was the power to question the cloud. When a thought like, "She thinks I'm unprepared," floated up, he could now ask, "How do I know that's true? What's another possible reason she looks serious?" The day of the presentation came. The cloud hadn't vanished, but it was smaller, lighter. Marcus felt nervous, but he didn't feel doomed. He knew it might not be perfect, and that was okay. He took a deep breath, adjusted his new, clear way of seeing, and walked in, ready to simply do his best.
Cognitive restructuring is a therapeutic process that helps individuals identify, challenge, and change unhelpful or distorted thought patterns. The goal is to replace these negative thoughts with more balanced, realistic, and positive ones. The process is a foundational element of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which is a key influence on the IMR program's cognitive behavioral strategies. The process generally involves three main steps: identifying negative thoughts. The first step is to become aware of the automatic, often negative thoughts that arise in a particular situation. These are often irrational or exaggerated. For example, after making a small mistake at work, an individual might have the automatic thought, "I'm a failure and I'll probably get fired." Challenging the thoughts. Once a negative thought is identified, the next step is to question its validity. This involves acting like a detective and looking for evidence to support or refute the thought. Questions to ask yourself include: what evidence do I have that this thought is true? What evidence do I have that it's not true? Is there a different way to look at this situation? What would I say to a friend who was having this same thought? And then replace them with a more balanced thought. The final step is to create a more realistic and helpful thought to replace the distorted one. This new thought isn't about being overly optimistic, it's about being objective. For the example, a more balanced thought might be, "I made a small mistake, but everyone does sometimes. I'll correct it and learn from it. My overall performance is still good." CBT example: social anxiety. The situation: someone was invited to a community event. 2. Their automatic thought: people will notice my symptoms and think I'm weird. 3. Their feelings: their anxieties are 8 out of 10 and they're feeling shame. 4. Their balanced thought: most people are focused on themselves and not judging me. And that's an example of social anxiety and how they can resolve it by using questions to question their anxiety. Behavioral strategies in IMR. Cognitive work is complemented by practical behavioral techniques. Behavioral activation, scheduling meaningful activities to improve mood and build momentum. Skills training, structured practice of communication, problem solving, and coping skills. Graduated exposure, systematic approach to facing fear situations in manageable steps. Relaxation techniques, practical methods to reduce physiological arousal and managing stress. The problem-solving framework. 1. Define the problem. Be specific and concrete about the challenge. 2. Generate solutions. Brainstorm multiple options without judgment. 3. Evaluate alternatives. Consider pros, cons, and feasibility of each option. 4. Choose and implement. Select the best option and create an action plan. 5. Review results. Assess outcome and adjust approach if needed. Tailoring CBT for serious mental illness. Simplify. Break concepts into smaller, more manageable pieces. Visualize. Use visual aids and concrete examples. Record. Create written summaries and reminders. Repeat. Review key ideas frequently to support retention. Practice. Provide ample opportunities for skill rehearsal. Connect. Link concepts to personal experiences. All right, another activity, CBT practice activity. Use the things below this video to answer the questions. Choose one common cognitive distortion and work through these steps. Now I want you to think about maybe a client you're working with. 1. Identify a specific example of how this distortion might appear in a client's thinking about recovery. 2. Develop 2 to 3 questions you could ask to help examine the evidence. 3. Craft a potential balanced alternative thought. 4. Consider a behavior experiment that could test the validity of the original thought. Pause this video and unpause it once you finish this activity. Integration of IMR components. The true power of IMR comes from the synergistic integration of all 5 components. Recovery orientation, that's the foundation of guiding values and hope. Goal setting, direction with personalized recovery goals. IMR curriculum, structured content and practical lessons. Motivational strategies, engagement to sustain participation, and cognitive behavioral strategies. The IMR program uses a standardized structured session format to ensure that each meeting is productive and focused on the individual's recovery goals. This structure is flexible enough to be used in either individual or group settings. Sessions typically take around 45 to 90 minutes to complete. The standard session agenda. Each session follows a consistent agenda to maintain a clear focus and build a routine. Informal socializing. The session begins with a brief 1 to 3 minutes or so of informal conversation to build rapport and discuss any major issues that may have come up since the last meeting. Review a previous session. The practitioner reviews material from the last session to check for understanding and retention of information and skills. Review of homework. The practitioner and individual discuss the homework assignment from the previous session. This is an opportunity to praise efforts, reinforce success, and problem solve any difficulties that arose. Follow up on goals. Progress on the individual's personal recovery goals is reviewed. Obstacles are identified and problem solved, and new goals or next steps are planned. Set agenda for current session. The practitioner and individual collaboratively set a clear agenda for the rest of the session. Teach new material and practice skills. This is the main part of the session where new material from the IMR curriculum is taught using motivational, educational, and cognitive behavioral strategies. The material is customized to the individual's needs, interests, and goals, and time is dedicated to practicing new skills. Agree on new homework. A new homework assignment is collaboratively created to help the individual practice the skills learned in session. Summarize progress. The session concludes with a summary of the material covered and progress made. In IMR, home practice is a fundamental component of skill development. It allows individuals to apply what they learn in sessions to their real-life situations, which is essential for lasting recovery. The importance of home practice. Home practice is crucial for several reasons. Bringing theory and practice, bridging theory and practice. It helps individuals bridge the gap between abstract concepts discussed in therapy sessions and the practical application of these skills in their daily lives. Without this practice, skills like problem solving or relaxation techniques might not feel natural or effective when faced with real-life challenges. Reinforced learning. Regularly practicing new behaviors and skills reinforces what was learned during sessions, making it more likely that the individual will use these skills automatically over time. Building self-efficacy. Successfully completing homework assignments and applying skills in real-world situations builds self-efficacy, the belief in one's own ability to succeed. This confidence is vital for motivating individuals to tackle more ambitious goals and challenges in their recovery journey. Customizing strategies. Home practice helps individuals and practitioners identify what works and what doesn't work. They can then use this information to problem solve obstacles and tailor strategies to better fit the individual's unique needs and lifestyle. Key skill development. Home practice assignments are directly tied to the IMR curriculum's topics and are designed to develop a range of key skills. Problem solving. An individual might be assigned to use the step-by-step problem solving and goal achievement worksheet to address a specific problem they are facing. Social skills. A person working on building social support might be asked to practice starting a conversation with someone using the tips learned in the session. Coping mechanisms. Someone learning to cope with stress might be assigned to practice a relaxation technique for a specific amount of time each week and track its effect on their stress levels. Medication adherence. For individuals who decide to take medication, homework might involve practicing a behavior tailoring strategy, like placing a pill bottle next to their toothbrush to make taking medication a regular habit. The practitioner's role is to ensure these assignments are reasonable and tailored to the individual's skill and confidence levels, praising all efforts in helping to solve any obstacles encountered along the way. Some common challenges in IMR implementation. Engagement. Inconsistent attendance or participation in sessions and home practice. Cognitive challenges. Difficulties with attention, memory, or abstract thinking. Symptom interference. Active symptoms disrupting learning and skill application. Limited resources. Inadequate social support or practical resources for recovery. Addressing cognitive challenges. Many individuals with serious mental illness experience cognitive difficulties that can impact learning. Strategies include simplify language, use clear, concrete terms and avoid jargon or complex sentences. Chunk information, present small amounts of information with pauses between. Multimodal teaching, combine verbal, visual, and hands-on learning approaches. Frequent summaries, regularly recap key points to reinforce learning. Written aids, provide handouts, reminder cards, and visual cues. Environmental support, minimize distractions in the learning environment. Enhancing engagement. 1. Therapeutic alliance, invest in genuine connection and trust building. Personal relevance, connect content directly to clients' stated priorities. Early wins, structure opportunities for success early in the process. Flexible delivery, adapt format, pace, and content to the individual's needs. Cultural adaptations. Effective IMR implementation requires cultural humility and adaptations. Recognize how cultural factors shape understanding of mental health, recovery, and treatment. Explore culturally specific stressors, strengths, and coping resources. Adapt examples, metaphors, and case studies to be culturally relevant. Consider cultural values around family involvement, spirituality, and community. Discuss potential cultural barriers to implementation of IMR strategies. IMR can be done in different treatment settings, like outpatient clinics, weekly sessions, with emphasis on community application and long-term skill development. In a partial hospital or day treatment program, more intensive format with multiple weekly sessions and structured practice opportunities. In the inpatient units, abbreviated modules focus on crisis stabilization and transition planning. And on assertive community treatment, or community support team for that matter, IMR elements integrated into in-home visits with practical skill application. Peer support in IMR refers to a system where individuals with lived experience of mental illness help others on their recovery journey. This form of support is valuable because it provides a sense of community and shared understanding that can be difficult to find elsewhere. Peer support can help individuals build self-confidence and feel more optimistic about their future. The IMR curriculum encourages individuals to learn from the experiences of others. Hearing how peers have successfully managed symptoms, navigated the mental health system, or achieved personal goals can be a powerful source of motivation and hope. The IMR topic of building social support specifically addresses the importance of peer relationships. It suggests that peer support groups can provide a safe space where individuals feel understood and comfortable sharing their experiences. The IMR curriculum mentions specific peer-led programs, such as recovery groups, psychosocial clubhouses, and peer drop-in centers, as valuable resources for support. These programs can offer a structured environment for learning, socializing, and skill building with others who have similar experiences. Peer support also helps combat self-stigma by showing individuals they are not alone and that a mental health diagnosis does not define them. Hearing about peers who led productive, creative, and meaningful lives provides positive examples and reinforces that recovery is possible. Peer support integration models. Co-facilitation. Clinical and peer providers lead IMR groups together, blending expertise. Individual support. Peers provide additional one-on-one sessions focused on skill, practice, and barriers. Community navigation. Peers assist with real-world application of skills in community settings. Graduate groups. Peer-led ongoing support after completion of formal IMR curriculum. Family involvement in IMR. With client permission, family involvement can significantly enhance outcomes. Sharing information about the IMR approach and recovery principles. By educating about specific mental health conditions and treatments. By teaching supportive communication strategies. By involving family in relapse prevention planning. By supporting family members' own well-being and coping. And by identifying ways family can reinforce skills between sessions. There's some digital adaptations of IMR. Telehealth delivery, like remote sessions via video or phone, increase accessibility and reach. Mobile apps, interactive tools for skill practice, symptom monitoring, and goal tracking. And online communities like peer support forums and virtual groups extend connection beyond sessions. Case study, depression and social isolation. Client, Maria, 32, diagnosed with major depression with psychotic features. Situation, lives alone, minimal social contact, unemployed for 8 months, reports feeling worthless and a burden. Goal identified, I want to feel connected to others again. Key components applied, recovery orientation, which is focused on meaningful connection, not just symptom reduction. Goal setting. Broke social goal into manageable steps. Curriculum. Emphasize social support and coping modules. Motivational. Explored ambivalence about social contact. CBT. Address negative thoughts about social worth. Case study intervention and outcomes. 1. Initial steps. Weekly phone call to supportive cousin. Practice social skills in IMR group. 2. Building momentum. Attended community center art class with peer specialist support. 3. Expanded connection. Develop friendship with classmate. Increase frequency of family contact. 4. Recovery growth. Volunteer role at community center, leading to part-time job opportunity. Case study, schizophrenia and medication concerns. Client, James, 45, living with schizophrenia for 20 plus years. Situation, multiple hospitalizations due to medication discontinuation, concerned about side effects, believes he shouldn't need pills. Goal identified, I want to stay out of the hospital. Key components applied, recovery orientation, emphasize personal choice and quality of life. Goal setting, connected medication to valued personal goals. Curriculum, using medication effectively module, relapse prevention planning. Motivational, explored ambivalence about medication. Case study, intervention and outcomes. Decisional balance. Thoroughly explore pros and cons of medication use versus discontinuation. 2. Medication collaboration. Supported assertive communication with psychiatrists about side effect concerns. 3. Reframing. Develop new perspective. Medication is a tool that helps me do what matters. 4. Side effect management. Implemented strategies to address weight gain through nutrition and exercise. 5. Relapse prevention. Create a detailed plan with early warning signs and graduated response steps. Outcome, 18 months without hospitalization, improved quality of life, and greater sense of control. We can skip this session right here because this is for group activities and you're doing this via webinar. Measuring IMR outcomes. Regular assessment helps track progress and guide adjustments. IMR scales, clinician and client versions, assess recovery knowledge, goal progress, and skill application. Goal attainment scaling, systematic method for measuring progress toward individualized goals. Symptom measures, track changes in symptom frequency, intensity, and distress. Functional assessments, evaluate improvements in daily living, social connection, and community participation. Recovery measures, assess subjective sense of hope, empowerment, and quality of life. Using fidelity measures, the IMR Fidelity Scale helps programs assess implementation quality across key domains. Program structure, like small caseloads and session frequency. Curriculum comprehensiveness and structure. Educational techniques like engagement and tailoring. Recovery orientation and goal setting process. Motivational and cognitive behavioral strategies. Relapse prevention and crisis planning emphasis. Regular fidelity reviews support quality improvement efforts. Supervision and consultation. Individual supervision. Regular case review focusing on integration of IMR components. Group learning, team-based case discussions and skill development. Role play practice, rehearsal of motivational and CBT techniques. Session recording, review of actual sessions with constructive feedback. Quality supervision creates a parallel process that mirrors the recovery-oriented collaborative approach used with clients. Some resources for ongoing development. Of course, the IMR Manual and Toolkit, which is a comprehensive implementation guides and worksheets from SAMHSA. Training opportunities, formal IMR certification programs and workshops. Online communities, practitioners forums for sharing experiences and resources, and research updates, journals, and publications on IMR innovations. Personal implementation planning. Let's take a few minutes to reflect on your own practice and complete this implementation worksheet. 1. Current strengths. Which IMR components do you already implement effectively? 2. What are the growth areas? Which components would you like to strengthen? 3. Next step. One specific action you'll take in the next week. 4. Resource needs. What support or materials would help? 5. Success measure. How will you know your implementation is improving? Key takeaways. Integration is essential. The power of IMR comes from this synergy of all 5 components working together. Personalization matters. Adapting IMR to individual needs, culture, and preferences improves outcomes. Collaboration is key. Working as partners with clients, peers, and families enhances effectiveness. And hope is the foundation. Recovery orientation infuses all aspects of the approach with possibility. Thank you. Now, to complete the examination after this, and then we'll move on to the next module.